Psalm 22 was written 1,000 years before the crucifixion of Jesus, hundreds of years before crucifixion was even invented. And yet it describes exactly what happens on the cross, down to the piercing of the hands and feet. Now, obviously, it was the wrists, but still. Now, let's just read this here. Verse 1 of Psalm 22. My God, why have you abandoned me? Why are you so far away when I groan for help? Every day I call to you, my God, but you do not answer. Every night I lift up my voice, but I find no relief. It's amazing. We can't really get our minds around how God in the flesh became man and then was forsaken, was able to be in our place on the cross, set apart for us, taking upon the sin of mankind. That moment on the cross is the centerpiece of all history. Everything up to that, everything back looking at that moment. He was there. Even though it was daytime, it felt like night. He was in the dark time of the soul. Yet you are holy, in verse 3. He reminds himself of God's holiness. Enthroned on the praises of Israel, the God of Israel that we worship, the God of the Jews, our Jewish Messiah on the cross. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you rescued them. They cried out to you, and they were saved. They trusted in you and were never disgraced. So you're remembering the goodness of God as history has foretold, has shown it, that God has been good. And in verse 6, I am a worm, not a man, scorned and despised by all. Everyone who sees me mocks at me. They sneer and shake their heads, saying, is this the one who trusted in the Lord? Let the Lord save him. If the Lord loves him so much, let him rescue him. That's exactly what they said at the foot of the cross. If God is really on his side, let him come down. Let him send down Elijah and get him off the cross. At any moment, Jesus could have gotten off the cross, but he was on there for us. He was on there for our sins, dying for us, because he planned this from the beginning. But he knew that people would be mocking at the foot of the cross, and that is exactly what they did. Verse 9, yet you brought me safely from my mother's womb, led me to trust on my mother's breast. I was thrust into your arms at birth. You have been my God from the moment I was born. Do not stay so far from me, for trouble is near. No one else can help me. My enemies surround me like a herd of bulls. Fierce bulls of Bashan have hemmed me in. I'm still not quite sure what that means, but anyway. Like lions, they open their jaws against me, roaring and tearing into their prey. My life is poured out like water. My bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax melting within me. Again, a description of what the body goes through in the crucifixion moment. My strength is dried up like sun-baked clay. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You have laid me in the dust and left me for dead. My enemies surround me like a pack of dogs. An evil gang closes in on me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. Thousands of years before that was even the kind of torture or a kind of, death that they would put somebody in. If the Jews had had their way, they would have stoned Jesus. But this had to be fulfilled with a Roman crucifixion. I can count all my bones. My enemies stare at me and gloat. They divide my garments among them and throw dice for my clothing, which is exactly what they did at the foot of the cross. You got to read Lloyd C. Douglas's book, The Robe, by the way. It's amazing. It's obviously fictional, but it takes place of the idea of a Roman soldier getting the robe and not dividing it. The Lord, O Lord, in verse 19 of Psalm 22, do not stay far away from me. You are my strength. Come quickly. I'm just going to go down to the bottom here where it just says at the very end, his righteous acts will be told to those yet born. They will hear about everything he has done. The very last verse of Psalm 22 is, it is finished, it is done. Just like at the end of Jesus' agony on the cross, he screams, it is finished. It is done. The work is done. We don't have anything else to do but look at the cross. Faith, looking at the cross in faith, saying he did all the work. We have relationship with the Father, with the God of the universe, because of what Jesus did on the cross. That's all there is to it, my friends. We'll keep studying the rest of these chapters, but I just wanted to leave you with Psalm 22. Study it on your own. See what I'm saying. Share this message with all you can. God bless.